Welcome back everyone to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast, and this time it is going to be a 2v2 from Kotu.org, brought to you by Crossfire, playing as the OKW. His friend is going to be, of course, Kirov as the OKW as well, so double OKW, versus an American, Finest Tamakaze, and then Lyconius. So, of course, let's get this started. Now, immediately we have some folks plus a Cube Wagon coming in for both OKW players. Interestingly, yeah, the map is, of course, as you can see, Samolsky Winter. On Samolsky Winter, two Cube Wagons are an interesting choice. We'll see how they work out against the Riflemen. Tomikaze is going to have an easy time with those Riflemen countering the Cubles, at least early on. But first of all, we can see that, of course, the Sturmpiles are just grabbing their positions in the church. They get actually beaten to the other house, the fuel house, and the combat engineers, unfortunately, are not going to be able to hold their position in here for too long, as these, of course, STG-44s drive them away from the windows. However, coming in from the north, we have some riflemen to support, and the riflemen are going to be okay in a close-range fight against these Volksgrenadiers with the support of the rear echelon troops. But, of course, the engineers are forced away, and now their flank is actually exposed to a lot of Germans. The Germans are really focusing on this area, and they of course want to capture this field and hold it as much as possible. So they're putting in a lot of men into these buildings and forcing away all the American units. American units receiving next to no support from the Soviets, it seems. As you can see, there is a clown car coming in from Lyconius. He's going to be able to use that quite well with the double engineer. Unfortunately, he does not have, of course, any munitions yet, so he cannot go for the flamer. But he's in okay position. Now the problem is, of course, this house is going to get taken over by the huge concentrated forces that the Germans are bringing to bear in the area. So if the Germans can actually take and hold the cutoff house and take and hold the cutoff, then they're going to be boxing the Allies in the base, except, of course, for the left-hand side of the map. But the left-hand side of the map might just be captured then and there. Medical supplies actually coming in from Crossfire. Good decision, just to heal up a few of these infantry units in the area. Nothing really too major going on. We see a fighting position being kind of built on the cutoff point. Very smart decision in my opinion, because this is not only going to be a good suppression platform if Tomikaze decides to build a 50 caliber machine gun, but of course it's going to fire rifle grenades from rear echelon troops stationed inside at this building, which is going to mean that the building is not really as easily used to disrupt Allied forces in the cutoff zone. Because every few seconds, as you can see, the Volksgrenadiers are just going to have to leave the building and try to avoid taking grenade fire. Of course, very good micro coming in from Crossfire, allowing them to do that. But yeah, in the meantime, Lyconius on the left-hand side is capturing a bunch of points, and he's basically on a roll with the clown car. Clown car still hasn't received the flamer, so it's really not going to have an easy time in the center. And the center is way too many buildings for just the machine gun rifle combination to work. Right now, the Germans have a triple cap going on the Allies. This is, of course, very, very strong, but it's gonna get reversed by these engineers. Clown car, I'm not sure what it's trying to do. Oh, actually chasing down a Cube Wagon. Pretty okay choice. I mean, as you can see, so far away from the base, so far away from any units, the Cube Wagon is definitely going to go down. And there it goes on the ice. Very, very bad way to go for the Cubal, but it was pretty obvious. I feel like sending out that Cube Wagon so far unsupported with, of course, what happened to the second Cube Wagon? Was just never built? I have no idea. Let's check that out. So Crossfire lost his Cubal, and oh, it's still there. Okay. Yeah, still, sending out these Cube Wagons unsupported when there's a clown car on the field, definitely a bad decision. One-on-one, the M3 is going to win against the Cube Wagon. With troops inside the M3, it is really going to be no contest at all. But of course, the Soviets keep pumping out those Penals. That is going to mean that they are more vulnerable to light vehicles later on if the Germans decide to go for any. So far, Crossfire is going for a battle group headquarters. Battle group headquarters in a interestingly defensive location, as well as a mechanized regiment in the area as well. Efficient time usage, by the way, by Lyconius. Needed to repair his scout car, needed to grab the point, so he just offloaded his combat engineers at the point and is now capturing and repairing. Pretty good. At the same time, the Allies have managed to recover slightly in the center. They have managed to essentially force the Germans back from the forward line of buildings, and they're pushing in along the second line. Right now, these Volksgrenadiers are stopping them, but going in so close against these Flamer re-echelons, not the best choice. Of course, interesting incendiary grenade attempt, didn't really do too much. Forced away by the Sturm Pioneers, the re-echelons are going to just escape. Second re-echelon troop going to be providing some supporting fire to these Penals. The Penals are going to be holding buildings, and the second building also held by some Penals that were now flanking. Sneaky Rekenwerfer just kind of trudging through these reeds, and somehow they managed to hide in plain sight along the river. Yeah, well, I mean, really not a lot strange going on right now. We have a little bit of a counterattack in the center. Finally, the Allies are going to get some VP superiority over the Germans. But at the same time, sneaky Rekenwerfers are coming along in the north. Looks like this guy hit a mine, and there's a second mine as well over there. So clearly meant for sneaky Q-Bulls trying to come in. But there is a light tank on the battlefield, Lux. Of course, Lux being pretty much the quickest light tank to be appearing on the field. Going to be extremely strong against what Lyconius is going for. As you can see, 3 Penals plus a shock troop. Absolutely empty of AT grenades. Only the satchels from the Penals are going to be available, and the satchels have a very, very limited range. However, there goes... Wait, what? Oh, that's a German mine. Okay, I thought that he was gonna trigger that mine and explode. But oh well. Looks like Lux is doing just fine. There is a captain on the field that can counter him, but other than that, captain plus AT gun, so good preparation from Tomokaze. But other than that, the Allies are completely in the... Ooh, wait. Support gun. They're completely unprepared versus the Lux. There is a support gun, which is going to be okay against the buildings. No doubt why Crossfire decided to opt for that. And yeah, second support gun also coming through. Perhaps not the best choice. I mean, there's a lot of infantry on the field for the Allies. So why not go for a lot of infantry in response for the Germans? Well, there might be many reasons. I mean, one of them, of course, they're trying to use their manpower for something else. That's the main problem, possibly the main reason. But oh well, this will definitely result in some problems for them, as you can see. Shock troops going to be massacring some Volksgrenadiers that were isolated and didn't have any backup. Also, no MGs coming through for the Germans. Of course, they just now upgraded their trucks. So, of course, with OKW, you can only go for the MG34 after you set up 1 truck or more. And so, before that, they couldn't get any suppression. But now, it is, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake for both of these German players to not go for MGs. Ignoring that on a map such as Samosky Winter, definitely not the best choice. Especially considering how much of a territory advantage the Germans had earlier. Yeah, it just seems like it's not going as well as it could be. Lux is going to be counterattacking on the right side, but it gets a little bit too close to these Penals. Luckily, these Penals don't seem to be microed all that well by Lyconius, because he was probably looking at, probably at the base, because he's building a Tank Battalion Command and he's reinforcing the shock troops. Tank Battalion Command, in this situation, I would go for a Su-76, but perhaps the better option might be a T-70. There is a Stuka coming through, and there's still a lot of German infantry, despite the fact that, of course, the Allies have a superiority in that field. There's still quite a lot of Volksgrenadiers running around the map, causing trouble for the Allies, tossing grenades and flanking Penals. So not really the best possible position to be in if you're an Allied player right now, especially considering that it seems like they're getting pushed back into their base once again. The Germans have managed to capture the field point up here in the north, and then in the center they have this very, very nasty firing line going with 10 Kar 98Ks, plus also some guys are starting to be upgraded with STG 44s. So overall, lots of anti-infantry firepower in the early to mid game for the OKW being put to great use by Kirov and Crossfire. So with these two advantage, damn, absolutely one-shotted that flamethrower. So with these advantages that the Germans are building up, they're able to push back the Allies right back to the base. The Allies at least manage to take control over their southern PP, which is quite great because that prevents them from, again, being completely murdered by a triple cap. But overall, oh, here comes a great grenade, RGD-33, but nice dodge from Kirov is going to prevent any major damage, while the Lukes is absolutely massacring these shock troops, forcing them back across the lake into safety, hopefully. Also, support guns are just pounding the Allied positions in the area, and now the Stuka joins in the fun and delivers a nasty hit on the mortar and almost takes out the ambulance. Very, very luckily for the Allies, those rockets just barely missed the ambulance, because otherwise that would have definitely been a bad, bad day for the occupants of that vehicle. In the meantime, yeah, still very, very nice push coming in from the Germans. Finally capturing this strategic point. However, we have a back tech from Tomokaze. He's going for a lieutenant, no doubt to get that extra anti-infantry capability, and not only from, of course, the lieutenant squad, but also maybe from the 50 caliber machine guns that he might go for, because he does have a little bit of extra. Yep, we do have a 50 caliber machine gun. Does have a little bit of extra manpower, making good use of it. Purchasing that machine gun, definitely a good choice, considering that the Allies right now are getting kind of pressured in a way that they don't want to be. Right now, the only problem for Tomokaze seems to be that he does not have weapon racks unlocked, so his riflemen are very much at a disadvantage versus veteraned up Volksgrenadiers of STGs, especially in the mid to close range, where normally the riflemen are very, very much superior. So that is doubly bad for them. And right now, yeah, it seems like this Lukes is just king of the battlefield, and yeah, there's really nothing the Allies have that can stop it, except, of course, this anti-tank gun. The anti-tank gun, however, having a very, very limited arc of fire, can't really deal with everything that the Lukes can do to stop the swarm of Allied troops. Just can't cover everything. Right now, the Lukes is doing some weird stuff, not really using its time efficiently. Right now, we have a bit of a support gun barrage. Still two support guns? Yeah, still two support guns. An Obersulan squad is on the field for Crossfire. Of course, this means that we have a Sure Panzer quarters. No Sure Panzer quarters coming in from Kirov. We have a battle group headquarters, in fact, coming from him. And Su-76 reveals himself by artillerying some poor German troops. Of course, kind of successful. Gets a kill. There's actually a nice demo charge there, but that gets revealed by... that gets revealed by, of course, the Sturmbiles. So a bit of a waste of 90 munitions. Stuka Barrage also seems like a bit of a waste. Managed to destroy the 50 caliber machine gun, but yeah, recaptured immediately by re-echelon troops. More shock troops plus a Stuart. Well, that is definitely a bad choice, because I mean, he could have gone for a Stuart a whole lot earlier. He had the captain first and not the other way around. So he could have just gone for the Stuart a few minutes ago, and that would have been a whole lot more impactful than a Stuart right now. I mean, the Stuart might be useful to try to chase down the Stuka. With that glorious stun that you can do with the Shell Shock, only 45 fuel, you can pretty much... munitions. You can pretty much immobilize the Stuka and do some good work with that. Crossfire has a lot of resources in his back pocket. He's going to go for a King Tiger, it seems. Or maybe a Sturm Tiger. I would love to see a Sturm Tiger. I would also like to see a King Tiger, but overall, yeah, not the best. Oh, there goes the Lieutenant. Wait. Seriously? Seems like they forgot to attach the gun to the Stuart. Anyway. Yeah, it's just I'm not sure what he's trying to do. I mean, he's got another supply half-track with 220 fuel and a Sure Panzer quarters. He might just want to go for the KT. The Sturm Tiger also would be a very good option, as I was mentioning earlier. It would be especially great against the Soviet player right now. And there goes another squad, so the Allies definitely losing a lot of troops. Not the best possible thing. But, I mean, they're still keeping themselves in this game. We have finally a bit of a firing line being positioned in by Tomokaze. He's going for a support gun in the meantime. That's a lot of infantry and support weapons he's going for. There goes another building. Of course, Demolition Squad, Sturm Pioneer managing to destroy that demo charge at a safe distance. Of course, right now, yeah, I'm not sure these guys can defend against the shock troops, but the shock troops are also taking damage. There goes this poor Penal Squad. There it goes, yeah, completely wiped out. And the Su-76 has also taken a nice, nasty Panzerfaust from these Volksgrenadiers. So overall, the Soviet assault isn't really working all that much in favor of the Allies, but the Americans, yeah, on the other hand, the Americans are actually doing quite well. A second Stuka? No, the first Stuka fires again. Doesn't really do too much. And right now, yeah, it seems like the assault from the Americans is doing okay, but the American troops, in trying to capture the, of course, cutoff point at the base, find out about the Sure Panzer quarters and are forced to retreat. Speaking of retreating, the shock troops are finally forced away, and the Axis, if they want, can just kind of flood over the right side of the map. They have, of course, Obersoldaten in the area, so they can capture the right side VP if they so decide. They have a 450 to 344 VP advantage over the Allies, so that is, of course, quite great, especially considering that it is a double OKW team. So later on, this team is going to be very, very scary, potentially, with double King Tigers, etc., etc. And indeed, doctrinal picks for them are fortifications and special operations. So Command Panther for Kirov, which explains the lack of Sure Panzer quarters. However, the fortifications doctrine is a little bit more of a complex choice from Crosshair. Maybe the LEFH artillery piece is what he is going for. I have no clue. Artillery piece might be pretty good on Samolsky Winter, but yeah, I have no idea what he has in mind. Vet-free mortar, actually, for Tomokaze, definitely proving its superiority. So the Lux is up to Vet 2 and doing quite fine for itself, of course. But really what is carrying the day right now for the Germans is the infantry side of things. So that is kind of why this Soviet approach is not working as well as it could be. Because of course he's kind of putting a lot of eggs into his infantry basket as well, and it's not really working for him as it is for the Germans, partially because he does not have a Lux to defeat German infantry. And right now it seems like the Stuart is really having a lot of trouble. Keeps taking Panzerfaust to the face, and now needs to be repaired by the rear echelon troops. Nice coming with the Rekenberg sneaky move, going to be capturing up that strategic point up north. So the Germans still have a pretty nasty resource lead over the Allies. As you can see, 29 fuel income as opposed to 13 for the Allies. And it's about to get jumped up even further by Crossfire and Kirov when they capture this. Of course, as you can see, 32 fuel. Not the best position to be in for the Allies, especially considering that well, actually, we have a doctrinal unit, the IS-2. So the IS-2 is, of course, going to be Lyconius's sort of last ace up his sleeve. And indeed, we do have the LEFH howitzer. I can hear it raging away. Yep, here we are. It's actually hitting the base. Not really doing all too much. As I say that, it hits a shock troop squad, doing quite a bit of damage. But nothing really too major so far. Of course, that is also kind of revealing the howitzer to the public and also to the Allies. Of course, first to the public, because you're the most important. Anyway, yeah, the LFH howitzer, not really going to be the easiest thing to target at big blobs of enemy units because of its sort of long aim time and even longer shell travel time. So it's going to be a lot more effective against big blobs that are in bases rather than anywhere else, and kind of restraining that for this LEFH, this particular one, is that, as you can see, the range is just slightly able to include the base, not really anything that can hit enemy troops as they're retreating all the way to the headquarters. So something that would be kind of important to do once Tomokaze goes for a major, which he hasn't done that yet, would be to scout out where the major is with the ambulance and try to hit that. But that so far is not an applicable solution because there is, of course, no major. Right now, the S-76 is in trouble. Wonder what caused this gigantic crater. Pretty sure it was not just the demo charge, but oh well. Yeah, here comes the Panzerfaust. Another one. Oh, KV Flamer. KV Flamer, of course, from Shock Troop Frontline Tactics. Massive, massive anti-infantry unit. Of course, it is quite expensive. In this, the Allies are helped in by the fact that Crossfire went for that LEFH howitzer. If he hadn't, he would already have a King Tiger on the field. But even as it stands, as you can see, here comes the KT. Excellent skin. Damn, that looks really awesome. I mean, it would if it didn't conflict with the decals. Damn, man. That's just a shame. Anyway. So KT gonna be able to easily deal with the KV-8. However, the KV-8, like not the KV, the KT are just, you know, meant for different roles. Of course, the KT is heavy breakthrough, but also anti-vehicle, whereas, of course, the KV-8 is only heavy anti-infantry. And there goes that Veteran C5. Very, very strong, of course. So if the KV-8 can kind of keep itself out of the harm's way of the KT, then it's going to be in a good spot. Whereas if the KT wants to chase down the KV-8, then it isn't really going to be able to support its infantry as well as it could be doing normally. So that is really what the KV-8 is going to be having an advantage in, is just kind of skirting around the the KT, and just trying to avoid it as much as possible, trying to get into infantry rather than, of course, into the King Tiger. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be able to do that because, well, depends on how well Crossfire can position the KT. There's, of course, a Command Panther on the field as well, which is also going to be countering the KV-8 Flamethrower. It's also going to be countering definitely the Stuart. The Stuart being chased down and completely murdered by the Allied, the Axis tank force. Sorry, a little bit ill, in case you didn't notice already. And yeah, right now it just seems like the Allies are just completely falling apart. As you can see, a lot of units very, very low in HP for the Allies. The artillery is actually hitting the American base as well. The Soviet player, Lyconius, has lost a lot of his infantry, it seems. Yep, also lost the support weapon team, because that is definitely a support weapon crew. The last member, rather, of one just escaping off into the distance. And right now, yeah, it just seems like things are not going all that well for them. The KV-8 investment means that the Is-2 is just so far away that Lyconius has to go for a second Su-76 to just try to stem the tide of German armor as much as possible in the meantime. That is, of course, a pretty tall order. I mean, there's a KT on the field, there's a Command Panther on the field, there's also a Luke's, which, while not the heaviest thing in the world, can be very, very nasty, zipping around the battlefield with its extreme agility and quickness. So with the double Suchka, this is going to help, but it's not going to be nearly enough. I mean, with, of course, Shock Rifle Frontline Tactics, there isn't even the added benefit of Mark Vehicle that would be coming in perhaps from, I don't know, Guards Rifle. Sorry, not Guards Rifle, Guards Motor. But, I don't know. I mean, the Allies still have some infantry in the fight, and Tomokaze has a very, very impressive array of, I guess you could say, soft targets to take care of. So these tanks are definitely going to have the work cut out for them. And as you can see, when it comes to that Panther just basically pushed these guys back into the grenade. Very, very unlucky. And the Panther being kind of mismicroed instead of just simply retreating back across, decides to show its rear armor with the AT guns. Double Sabo ammunition popped by the AT guns. Very good job. Gonna be able to take down that expensive Panther and force essentially Kirov to waste his entire reserve of resources to replace it, as he's probably gonna do. Needs just 40 extra fuel, and at the same time, however, the King Tiger gets a very nice kill up on that KB8. Also, these poor shock troops are also gonna get murdered by the 88mm main gun. There we are, and yeah, pretty much every side taking some pretty nasty losses. Although the German one was probably the most expensive vehicle to lose its life in that entire engagement. I mean, the Germans have enough resources to replace that, whereas, as you can see, Lyconius does not have enough fuel to get another KB8 flamethrower, or enough manpower, of course, as well. So, while the loss was bigger for the Germans can better afford it, which is crucial. Right now, we do have a major on the field for Tomokaze. Tomokaze now is going to be able to push out some easy 8s, and that's going to be extremely useful in the north. There goes also the Lukes, once again to these very nasty AT guns. They've been a terror so far for the Germans. They need to absolutely make use of their intelligence gathering, especially these artillery flares, to try to see where these AT guns are before they make any moves with their armor anymore, and trying to neutralize them, of course, with the Stuka Tsufus. Kirov is in a very good position with, of course, special operations plus the Stuka to take out AT guns, because he's got both the flares and the ability to capitalize on the vision providing capabilities of the flares. In the meantime, the King Tiger is kind of fighting the AT guns, you know, from the front. Gets a lucky kill off on the crew of that AT gun, and right now the first AT gun is probably going to go down as well. Yeah, the crew abandoning the vehicle due to a severe dose of 88mm fire, and of course also managing to take that out. Very good play from Crossfire, preventing the Allies from remanning that very crucial piece of equipment. But overall, the Allies are in a better position than they were in just a few minutes ago when the King Tiger hit the field. Damn. Did he just disappear into the... Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just disappeared into the bushes. Anyway. Another demo charge. Interesting choice from these combat engineers. I never really noticed the animation. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Damn, that's a big charge. I've never noticed how big it is. Yeah, anyway, it's like as big as a guy's chest. Yeah, still pretty fine. I mean, the demo charge is going to get countered by these minesweepers. So, bold move. Might just result in the wastage of 90 munitions. These Su-76s are even bolder. I mean, look at that. They're just pushing in. And right now, lots of losses coming in from Lyconius' infantry. But, thanks to their sacrifice, they have managed to capture the center VP with that captain in support. And right now, it just seems like the German tanks are being forced away, even though they just wasted some of the riflemen. It's still not enough. I mean, somehow they're getting pushed back to their base, even though they have a complete superiority when it comes to both numbers and quality of their units. So it really just kind of comes down to the aggressiveness that the Allies are displaying. They're just doing very well, and at least making sure the Germans think that they are very strong, when in fact they aren't. If the Germans were to consciously counterattack using all of their forces at once, they could probably crush this Allied contingent in the center quite easily, especially with the support of their off-map abilities, such as that zeroing artillery, which just got a little bit wasted by Crossfire. And right now, this Raketenwerfer is also going to go down, although not before doing a lot of damage to Easy 8 in return. So again, and there goes the AT gun, so the second AT gun being captured by the second 57mm AT gun, rather, being captured by the Germans. At the same time as the Raketenwerfer gets captured by the Allies, I hope. These shock troops really need to take that Raketenwerfer. It's going to be crucial to use that Raketenwerfer to help against the King Tiger and the Command Panther, now that the second 57mm has been requisitioned, as you may say, by the Germans. So right now, ooh, there goes the Su-76. Right now, not a good position to be in if you're Lyconius. A little bit better footing for Tomokaze. And the Allies are still somehow managing to contain a very decent level of map control under their belt. But, I mean, this might change anytime soon, especially considering the amount of forces the Germans have at their disposal. With the Stuka, they can try to take down the support weapons for Tomokaze quite easily. With the KT, they can break through the flimsy Allied lines. The main problem seems to be these EZ8s, but there's still only one, and EZ8s only really become a big danger when there's more of them on the field, when they really start to get those horde tactics going. Are the Germans preparing a massive assault? I'm thinking so. I mean, they're pushing along the center. They managed to get a nice damage engine off on the EZ8, so they're going to use that opportunity to push in. Panther takes out the Rocket along with the KT. So yeah, it seems like the Allies are going to have to abandon the center, and staying over here in the ice may not be the best choice. Here comes a nice Stuka barrage, takes out the MG, or rather, almost takes out the MG. Yeah, here comes a massive blob, ready to take over the center. But yeah, blob capping is never a good idea, and very excellent usage of the White Phosphorus Smoke Barrage to preserve that point under Allied influence. Just forces back all these guys. Of course, no kills because it is a White Phosphorus, but still very, very dangerous place to be in if your name is Fritz or Heinz or something that isn't John. And yeah, it just seems like a triple cap is now around for the Allies. Look at these pop caps. 36 plus 50, 53, 37. So 60, 90 pop cap versus, well, Crossfire alone out pop caps the entire Allied team. So this is really quite impressive that they have managed to get a triple cap going for however briefly they're going to be able to hold it, which isn't very long at all. I mean, it's still very, very impressive. Shows how aggressive they're playing, shows how well they're playing, and how seriously well they're playing the economy of force. Just sending out exactly the amount of units required to deal with any possible situation. And just doing leapfrogging well off of that. Right now, however, Lyconius is finally getting close to that IS-2 heavy tank. We have a second artillery piece on the field for the Germans, which is an interesting choice. It's actually firing on the ice, which, ooh, potentially could be very dangerous. There's a lot of Allied stuff in the area. And yeah, right now, the Allies are in a precarious position. They have their big sort of conglomerate of support weapons that's being attacked by the infantry. They have their shock troops being attacked by vehicles, and they have the center being kind of run over by the KT with no AT guns available to support, while also other units are being barraged by the artillery. Very, very good job. Takes out the vet-free mortar crew. So yes, it's not going all that well. The Allies are going to get pushed off the map once again, despite their earlier successes. And also, this isn't going to be as rosy as earlier, because it seems like a couple of these support weapons are in danger. Although, I mean, no. Somehow the Allies have this under control mostly. Because, again, all of this stuff just kind of... Well, some of it can't really move. Can't really be used for offensive operations. Some of it, I feel like, is just being held back and reserved for no real reason. I mean, this King Tiger could mop up everything here, and then just run into the base and take out some buildings. At this point, it could do that. Of course, the S-2 is about to hit the field, so it's gonna have a rival soon enough. I mean, the earlier tenure, it's got 52 kills somehow, but for its 52 kills, I feel like this King Tiger hasn't really had that much of an impact on the way the game has actually been going. I mean, the Germans were winning pretty well earlier before the KT, and now it's not like they're winning. I mean, in fact, it almost kind of seems like they're losing if you look at the territory and VP game in the past few minutes. If you look at the pop cups, of course, it's clear that they're still winning, but still, it's kind of interesting that King Tiger has played such a little, such a little role in this. Really hasn't managed to do all that much. The Command Panther similarly hasn't really done all that much, but the Command Panther, it's more understandable as it is more of a support / anti-vehicle piece of equipment. So the Command Panther really not denting for sort of infantry-focused allied army. That's kind of understandable. Here comes the IS-2, definitely not in the best possible spot. I mean, the Command Panther has just used the coordinated fire on the Su-76, which means that the S2 is a lot safer, and the S2 now is going to be able to support the allied infantry sorry, against the German infantry. And in the meantime, in the north, the two EZ-8s are going to have a field day because the Command Panther is back south, although now, as you can see, it's kind of roused and coming back north. So if the Command Panther spends way too much time in the center and the south, this is going to be very, very good for the EZ-8s. Right now, the Allies are kind of separated. They have one player going for the north and one player going for the center, whereas the Germans are mixing and matching forces as they see fit, although that isn't really quite working for them as well as it could be. The Germans also have a very nasty amount of resources in the bank, and this is, of course, because they're almost at pop cap. But considering the kind of situation in which they're in, they should absolutely try to push their advantage as much as possible, get some aggressive trading in, because they can replenish their forces, and the Allies very, very clearly cannot. Instead, they're just kind of playing defensively and letting the Allies recover and use their resources to build up their own arsenal. Right now, as you can see, these Volksgrenadiers, poor Volksgrenadiers being sent in without too much support. Command Panther forced to retreat. In the meantime, in the center, we have a very nice push coming in from the S2. And the King Tiger, instead of pushing in assertively and kind of making its presence felt, is just kind of sitting back with its free fire turned off. And so it's not really even able to pull that much damage up against the infantry. And the infantry is able to, because of that, push in and force back this 57mm anti-tank gun, which in turn allows the Allied vehicles to come in and try to bully the German units in the area even further. So as you can see, the Allied willingness to commit the forces, or rather their more limited forces even, which is of course more impressive as well, is giving them an advantage over the Germans, who are somehow still incredibly defensive, despite the fact that they have huge reserves of resources in the bank with which to replace lost units. So overall, not the best possible thing. I mean, partially this is because, of course, as you can see, a lot of their resources and PopCap are invested into artillery, 2 LEFHs plus a Stuka. But overall, I mean, could be a lot better going. Anyway, yeah, the LEFHs are also doing quite well. 33 kills plus 12 kills, so 45 actually. 45, not a bad number of kills for 2 artillery pieces, but again, it's kind of the same thing with the KT. The KT has 56 kills, but has it had that much of an impact on the way the match has been going? Not really, at least not insofar as its direct active impact. Passively, of course, it's forced the Allies into some choices. Not similarly for the LEFHs. I mean, they haven't even forced the Allies to do much of anything. I mean, they've mostly just kind of been sucking it up. Like, oh no, the artillery is bombing our base. Oh well. I mean, at this point, we finally see the Allies are gonna start to have to deal with it, because it seems like their actual buildings are being destroyed. As you can see, Lyconius has lost his Special Rapid Command, and the American base was in a very, very dire straits. Ooh, this could be interesting. So definitely the Allies are now starting to try to get a counter to these artillery pieces. We have a nice flanking maneuver off from these EZ-8s, destroying one of the artillery pieces actually entirely, and very smartly hit and run, or no, actually they decide to go after the Panther. I'm not sure on this move. Command Panther, of course, at half HP is very, very vulnerable, but then they decide to once again switch targets to the LEFH and destroy it. So that's a lot of manpower that just went down for the Axis. That's like, what, 650 times 2, so 1,300, I'm pretty sure. Not sure on the exact manpower cost of those artillery pieces. The only thing that remains to be seen is whether this King Tiger can make these Shermans pay, but considering it's a King Tiger and it's pretty slow, I mean, I'm pretty sure that these Shermans are going to be able to escape quite quickly. There is a Command Panther just blitzing in, and that's going to be able to do something against the Shermans if it's aggressive enough, but Who knows? I mean, it seems like the Shermans might just be able to escape to better shores. No, one of them goes down, and the second one is in a pretty bad position. Also, a normal Sherman was built by Tomokazu instead of another Easy 8. And right now, as you can see, the second Easy 8 very smartly pulls in some smoke. The Panther decides to actually charge into the smoke for some reason, and that means that it's in a very precarious position as it is on the ice. Absolutely dumbfounded by that decision. Great play by the Easy 8, but I have no idea why the Command Panther decided to do that. And right now the KT is also in trouble because the Sherman, using this, using the ice to its advantage, managed to flank it. However, kind of pathfinding issues mean that this poor Sherman's going to go down. However, the S2 is chasing the King Tiger and trying to finish it off. This isn't going to go that well. However, there is a Command Panther and a Raken River on the field. Yeah, S2 is going to go down, unfortunately. So very good job with the Command Panther's coordinated fire ability. Although, there's actually an AT gun coming in. The AT gun might be able to protect against the Command Panther, but, unfortunately, the Sable round actually does not pierce the armor. However, the AT gun, for some reason, the Command Panther does not chase because of the AT gun. And yeah, it was clearly afraid of whatever else could have been in the area. There was nothing, though. I mean, the Easy 8 is rushing back in, but yeah, overall an excellent engagement for the Allies for what it could have been. However, the Germans are still in a commanding position over the center of the map. The north is starting to be recaptured, actually, by an unlikely candidate of a machine gun. But yes, so considering the kind of force disparity, yeah, the Allies really pulling in a miracle there and taking out a Command Panther, taking out almost the King Tiger. That would have been the cherry on top of that already very rich cake. And yeah, unfortunately, the only problem is that the Axis still have the advantage when it comes to the resources. And all the while, yeah, we still have had a lot of artillery bombardments in the Allied base. Although, I mean, the 2 artillery pieces are dead. As you can see, Crossfire is rebuilding one of them. And yeah, you're gonna have to bear with me for a second. Okay, sorry. Anyway. Yeah, what's been going on? Well, still just basically what we've been seeing all the game. I mean, the Allies trying to capture the center. Right now, there's actually a pretty dangerous situation as there is a triple cap. However, the triple cap is going to be reversed soon enough by these AT guns. Right now, there's a big push coming in from the Allies in the south. It's kind of interceding a big central push for the Germans. Here comes a Stuka, takes out a machine gun, and it seems like the Axis are in the advantage. And right now, this Easy 8 is in a pretty good position to try to flank the Axis forces in the area. It's almost at the rush free, but it seems like some of the Allied troops are still kind of sitting around, not really able to join the fight. So, of course, there's a bit of a disadvantage going. However, yeah, it's not all bad. I mean, the S2 can still provide quite a lot of support against the infantry, and this Oberstland squad with like 54 kills, holy shit, it's definitely in trouble. So here comes the big showdown between the two beasts. So the S2 versus the King Tiger is going to be fairly even. It is going to be fairly even. However, there's a little bit more support overall for the KT, as the Germans do have the bigger forces. But locally, the S2 has a lot more useful units supporting it. Especially what I'm thinking of is this Easy 8 that's just kind of providing a lot of pressure. Just appearing on one end of the map or another, being very, very nasty for the Germans to deal with. It's just drawing off a lot of forces and kind of posing itself as a potential flanking threat. That's forcing the KT to be very, very conservative with its movements. As you can see, the KT is up to 68 kills, which is incredible. And right now, this huge blob of Volksgrenadiers is going to be essentially impossible to defeat for the Allies. However, there's a T-70 down here. I'm not sure what it's trying to do. Command Panther is going to force that away. And right now, yeah, it seems like the Allies just don't have the forces to counter the Germans. Their troops are just slowly falling apart piece by piece. However, we have a nice encroachment coming in from the Allies with this push coming in from the north. And that's going to force the rest... Oh, an amazing crush move by the EZ-8. Yeah, it's going to force basically the entire German army off from the center. And the KT... Is it going to be able to do too much against the EZ-8? I mean, the EZ-8 can just kind of get behind the building and repair up. Good, actually, play from the EZ-8 and the S2, coordinating off of each other. When one goes in, the other goes out, drawing off the German tanks and making sure that they can't concentrate 2-on-1 into one area at a time, at least not successfully. So right now, the only big problem for the Allies is really the lack of units. If they had enough units to actually capture and hold the center... Oh, damn. That was a great Stuka barrage. Actually followed the S2 as it was retreating. And there goes another shock troop squad. So yeah, just the infantry losses for the Allies just not having a good effect. And here comes a satchel charge on that Command Panther. The Command Panther is now in a very precarious spot. Not only is the S2 in the area, of course the S2 needs to be careful, but there's also an AT gun and there's the EZ-8 coming in for the flank. However, the EZ-8 decides to be conservative about it, use the cover of the white phosphorus, but white phosphorus also prevents it from firing, so that's not very good. And also, there's a Arquebus here, so the EZ-8 is definitely in trouble, and it is going to go down. However, yeah, the Command Panther is also going to go down. Still, I would say that the Command Panther, while being more expensive, is a easier loss to suck up for the Germans than the EZ-8 for the Allies. We have a second EZ-8 on the field for Tamakaze around right now, but that was a veterancy-free tank, whereas the Command Panther is just another mook. And yeah, Crossfire and Kirov are just going to be able to recapture the center once again and get another VP lead, which is really what they've been working towards. And yeah, I mean, they've still got force superiority, whereas finally Kirov is starting to feel the losses. He's down to 50 pop cap, and he's just waiting for another Command Panther. Once he's got that Command Panther again, he's going to skyrocket up. And right now, yeah, it just seems like the Allies are nearing the end of their losing battle. I mean, they've only got 151 points left. Very, very admirably held so far, but, I mean, I'm not quite sure how they're going to be able to capture another VP and holding it for long enough to drain the Axis down. Because at this point, there's absolutely no way that they're going to be able to win by attrition, especially considering that Crossfire has all that in the pocket, you know. 1,400 manpower, 800 fuel almost, Veterancy 5, Obersoldaten, Veterancy 4, Sturm Pioneer, Veterancy 4, Support Gun, Veterancy 3 King Tiger, 2 artillery pieces, actually no, 1 artillery piece plus a Pack 40 free to cover the rear against any flanks from here, just in case, you know. I'll just build a Pack 40 free just in case, says Crossfire. So Crossfire definitely is pretty rich. Not as good, not going as well for Kirov, but yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to do too much despite that. And yeah, the EZ-8 tries one last charge, but it actually gets pretty much drives straight into the hornet's nest of Panzerfausts and Raketenwerfers, which is going to mean, if not its death, its uselessness for a while. Here comes the KT, just driving up, not using Spearhead actually, but up to vet 4, taking some damage actually from the IS-2 from the flank. Actually, a lot of damage coming in from, of course, the X-Tank guns as well. There goes the EZ-8, but will it be worth the cost? I mean, the King Tiger is not in a good way. Of course, the IS-2 can't really chase the King Tiger as long as the Command Panther is in the area. Command Panther puts in a nice target vehicle. And while the AT gun wall of the Allies is actually holding up against the Command Panther, yeah, I mean, the Allied force is actually in a great shape. C7, you can capture the center. The south is Allied. The north is actually open. I mean, they could get a triple cap right now. I'm not quite sure what this T-70 is doing, however. Really weird move there. Should have been using recon mode to cap, but oh well. The north not really being captured actually by any of these allied troops. A bit of a mistake. And right now the the S2, sorry, S2 and EZ8 are easy to confuse when you're not in the best of ways. I mean, it's in an exposed position. This is really strange. Really, really strange. I mean, yeah, the S2 really just isn't able to do anything right now. And with the EZ8 this time being down from Tomokaze, that last hurrah from the Allies is probably going to go to an end. 77 kills for the KT. This is absolutely nasty. So yeah, the KT just kind of casually strolls up. Was that a mine? That looked like a mine explosion. Anyway, yeah, it's just gonna get easily able to take care of that S2. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Oh well. Yeah, it just seems like this isn't gonna go that well. Anyway, yeah. Another bombardment. What is that? I have no clue. Oh yeah, it's Major RD. Interesting, even that getting used by Tomokaze in desperation. But yeah, this is the last stronghold for the Soviets at the cutoff point, with the KT just kind of charging in, destroying all of their repairing engineers. And yeah, this is just very sad. Germans once again capturing the field points. And wow, excellent Stuka barrage. This is what I was talking about earlier. I'm not sure if it was aided by some flares, but of course, ambulance going down, not really something that was unexpected. And here comes the surrender. Extremely well played by the Allies overall. Just, I would say the only thing that kind of sunk them is the early game. The Germans were just able to coordinate much better in the early game and had a very good run there. And once double OKW does well in the early stages, yeah, recovery for especially an allied team with Annie Brits is just a very nasty, grueling business. As you can see, just by virtue of playing defensively and not really wasting any units, Crossfire was able to just kind of stick to his guns, stick to his KT, his artillery, and his few veteran infantry squads. Eventually, he lost some of those things. He got his artillery demolished. He got his Raketenwerfer stolen. One of his support guns went down. 2 of his Volksgrenadiers died. His Obersudan died, but not before they essentially held the line and held the VPs for as long as they were needed. Kirov providing some very good support. Overall, I would say that of the two sides, the Allies played better on an individual basis. They managed their units better overall, although there were some pretty interesting losses from the Soviet infantry that could have been avoided. I still would say that both of the Allied players played individually better than their singular counterparts in the Germans, but the Germans had a better team coordination pretty much all throughout, except for that one very nice moment with the S2 plus the EZ8s up here, just doing a very good job. Another problem was when those EZ8s just kind of charged through and got into the back line and destroyed the artillery, went on a bit of a spec ops mission. All of the Soviet units, from what I could see, just didn't really do too much. But that's just about it. So I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. As always, if you have a replay to send, if you think it's good or better than this one, if you think it's worse, whatever, send it in. Link will be in the description. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Here. Pronto? Ciao, tutto a posto? Che vengo alle 4 e tu... Sì, io come ti ho detto, riesco a stare un'oretta più o meno. Comunque... vabbè, possiamo fare che quando esco me lo dici e lo facciamo abbastanza velocemente. Tanto mi porto dietro da segnare. Ah, ok. Ok. Ah, c'è veramente tanta roba da dire? Ah, però. Va bene. Ah, ok. Ah, va bene, ok. Vabbè, scusa. Sì, sì, me l'avevi detto. Domani non credo veramente di farcela venire, però ci sono lunedì. Sì, sì. Ciao.